then.
Welcome to WWE 2K23 Review. 2K Games is no stranger to annual sport franchise installments. We have the NBA, PGA Tour, and NHL as an example. Using this formula can be a double-edged sword. Along the way, it's easy to fall into routine and little or no innovation, which happened with previous installments of WWE 2K. This does not mean that they are bad games by any means. Well, except for WWE 2K20, we already know the feast of bugs that offers. I will try to be as objective as possible, since as a big fan of WWE and wrestling in general, I will lie to you if this game does not generate hype for me. Starting with the editions you can get. Standard Edition at $59.99, which is the base game. Deluxe Edition at $99.99, including the base game, the Bad Bunny bonus pack with his character and my faction card, the Season Pass for the 5 post-launch DLCs, and some exclusives my faction cards too. The Icon Edition includes everything that the Deluxe Edition, plus the Ruthless Aggression pack that give you access to throwback version of John Cena, Randy Orton, Batista, and Brock Lesnar. Also, you can get a WrestleMania 22 Arena, the John Cena Legacy Championship, and more exclusive My Faction cards. Having as its predecessor the wonderful re-innovation of gameplay, graphics, and optimization of the previous year installment, WWE 2K22, with that game, 2K Games found a new formula to make the wrestling game franchise gain notoriety and hopefully expand its player base. So, what do we have this year with the new edition? Well, in essence, the game is the same as last year. Don't expect radical changes. However, it's not a crude copy. Instead, this game has incremental improvements that just add to the already established formula. This year's showcase mode, protagonist is none other than Mr. You Can See Me, John Cena. A fun turnaround is that we play as the antagonist, different wrestlers around the years that managed to defeat John, so this definitely adds some variety to the mode. Moving to the other game modes, we have practically the same as the last year, the traditional play mode, but now with the inclusion of War Games, a fun mode where you step into the double ring, double steel cage match, competing in either 3 vs 3 or 4 vs 4, either locally or multiplayer. Universe, the sandbox mode that gives you control over each of the shows, champions, rivalries, and fight types. My GA mode, where you are the general manager of a brand and you can compete against another to see who generates the most money and the most ratings. Controlling every aspect, starting with a draft to choose fighters and then select your arena, special effects, and your desired brand. This year, NXT 2.0 is added as a brand. If you put an effort on this mode, you can even end up in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, that's right. However, be aware that the learning curve is kind of long for newcomers. My Faction mode. We have online or offline mode. It's pretty much the same as the last year, where you can create matches with whatever rules and conditions you want. You can also spend virtual money to complete your roster in this mode. My Rise is where you create your character to take him to the top. This time there are 2 paths. One is as a fighter here at a world champion and as a fighter who is about to become the great star of WWE. Definitely an improvement on the story compared to the previous installments. Now on to the changes. We have new cinematics, and here it highlights the new movements that the fighters can inflict on their opponents. The gameplay stays with the 3 principal buttons and the reversals of the last year. The only two major changes are first, the new pin mechanics. You can either choose the old smashing button or move it to the right stick up on the precise moment, which to be fair adds some excitement on these moments. And second, the stamina now is more realistic. Now you can say this is either bad or good improvement, but it can affect positively or negatively in your movements if you play too offensively. An updated roster is another of the great improvements. However, I must mention that there are some that are still not fully updated, such as Austin Theory or Dominic Mysterio as an example. Thankfully, we have the CAWS or COS or Create a Resto option to download community creations. Also, some legends are now trapped behind the virtual money, and you will need to earn some by either playing the modes or using actual cash to unlock them. If you don't pay for the icon or deluxe edition, that is. Some improvements will be a better MyGM objectives, faster loading times in my Rise, definitely. But nonetheless, right now is the best looking wrestling game that had ever existed. I give it the score a final 8. A good game with some cool improvements from last year, and if you are not a die-hard fan of wrestling like me, I will suggest to wait for it to go on sale. Or skip it altogether. You know, it's like those iPhone 13 versus iPhone 14 upgrade situation. The newer is definitely better, but not too much different. Hey, but that's just my opinion. A Shark Dude opinion.